Welcome back to the second never-ending. Well, I guess it's not really numbered because it doesn't really matter because it's a never-ending conversation. It never ends, so I guess numbers don't matter. Roll the intro! So today we're going to talk about a couple cool things. Number one, the WWE might be using some of my music. That's right, the professional wrestlers might be using some of my music for my upcoming album for one of their wrestlers. We'll talk more about that. Number two, patches versus decals. Which one do you guys want? Three, social media virus. What's going on? What's it like to be a human being in the 21st century? Is it possible? Four, trademark bullcrap. What it's like to get sent a $3,000 invoice from a company in Bangkok. Five, a new microphone has arrived in a very awesome, amazing, really great way. Six, is another mainstream rock star copying my style? We'll find out. Seven, feedback. So let's get started. I want to apologize again for the video quality. I ended up using my old lens because my new lens that I bought is 50 millimeters, which basically means it's too zoomed in. You're going to be looking up my nose basically if we're continuing to shoot this in my living room, which is where we are right now. I bought this lens specifically for nighttime shooting for Into the Void because I needed to obviously shoot at night or in extreme dark situations to give you the sense of being in an infinite void. So this is really, really great for shooting in those kind of situations, but it's so zoomed in that really can't use it. So again, that's why we have the old lens back in the camera. But I'll be getting a new lens as soon as I can so we can do stuff like this and it'll look a lot better. So we'll talk about the WWE. One of my songs is actually being pushed forward to the WWE. That means WWE execs are actually going to be listening to some of the material that I've written for my album that's coming out. And they might actually be using it for the intro for one of their wrestlers. Now, I'm not a big wrestling fan, but that's pretty cool. That would be a great help, and it'd be really awesome. So I can't show you guys what the song is right now because it's kind of on lockdown. But as soon as I know, regardless of whichever way it happens, it will be looked at. And either way, that's really, really cool. I'm excited for that alone. Even if this doesn't go any farther, it's still really cool. Two, patches or decals. Now, I was in the military and we had to wear patches, and I thought that was really, really cool that I could make patches for Gears of the Universe. But then I was talking to some people and thought to myself, well, you know, like who's actually gonna put a patch on or iron a patch on, and what would they even put it on? And I thought, like, well, stickers would be cool too because you could like use stickers like on almost anything, like on your car or like whatever. I can't do both right now, so I'm going to put a poll up on my Patreon, and you guys let me know when the majority is going to win. Whatever you guys want, patches or decals, like stickers, whatever you guys choose, that's going to be the first thing I'll put in. Because in the end, I will get patches sooner or later. Like patches, I want a patch for myself, so I'm definitely going to order patches. But for the first batch, it's going to be up to you guys. Three, so we'll talk a little bit about social media virus. So the other day I was sitting around and I was thinking to myself, well, you know, do I do this? Why do I do this? I mean, I really don't think that I do it just for the likes. And I think that's what a lot of people would like to think about themselves, is that they're not just doing it for like the attention or whatever. I guess whatever way you would want to color that or look at that. And so I started thinking about it a little bit deeper, and I started to think that, well, you know, with or without Facebook or Instagram or any of that kind of stuff, I would still most likely be doing music. So do I share my music because that's what I would do in the first place, or have I continued to do that? It's just so complex and complicated to think about. Like, well, why are you doing the things you're doing? Like, what are the things that push you forward as a human being in your life? And that's a really scary thing that not a lot of people are actually going to think too deeply about, because when you start looking deeply at those aspects, it can kind of scare you away a little bit. Why do you do the things you do? Is it because somebody told you to? Or is it because you've gotten down to the bedrock of the situation and built the foundation by yourself? Are you living your life on the architecture of somebody else's ideas? Are you living your life on the architecture of somebody else's ideas? Or did you build your life on your own? Social media does allow us to like exchange awesome pieces of information and share each other's lives and keep in touch with people that we would never really get a chance to had social media not been around. So I think what it comes down to is us making conscious decisions and kind of realizing the power that social media has over our lives and choosing to interact with the platforms in a more conscious approach. I think one of the main things that makes us human is that we adapt and we overcome to any situation. And even if we become comfortable in a specific situation and that situation changes again, we can also adapt and change again. And I think that's where we are. I think humanity needs to adapt and overcome and to evolve into the next mindset that allows us to optimize our existence. That brings us to number 4. So whenever you trademark something, your information becomes part of like public domain. So telemarketers, my phone constantly rings with spam. It's such a pain in the butt. But this piece of mail that came in the other day really just topped my whole entire spamming career. It's from Budapest, not Bangkok. Sorry, my bad. From a company named GlowTrade. And they sent me an invoice for $2,890. That's so funny. And the funniest thing about it is that they were trying to get me to pay $3,000, but they themselves couldn't even. I haven't even looked these guys up. I don't even know if they're real, right? But they themselves couldn't even take. They want to charge me $3,000, but I don't know if you guys can see this. I'll put a picture in the. They couldn't even get a high enough quality on the resolution of my letters. Look at that. That's horrible. They want me to pay $3,000, and you guys can't even like make text that looks like it's not pixelated and from the 80s. The point about this is the more you try and stand up, the more other people are going to try and hold on and bring you back down. They're going to waste your time. They're going to ask you for things that you don't even have, but they're going to think that you have it just by the way you're acting, right? The way you act obviously can make people think that you've got money like that. I don't have money like that. I'm in college. Which brings us to point number 5. A brand new microphone, the Shure SM7B. Ooh. I don't want to drop any names because I didn't even ask him if it was cool if I mentioned that he gave this to me, but a friend of mine just recently bought this microphone and then decided to let me borrow it for this album. Now, this is a buddy of mine that I play guitar with, and I know he's definitely going to end up using this microphone, but for right now, recording the vocals on the album, I am 90% sure that this thing is going to rock your sound stuff. I'm super stoked to check it out, to work with it. Haven't had time to plug it in yet because schoolwork and trying to make this stuff and making this podcast for you guys, but this is super awesome. I'm super grateful to have amazing friends in my life who are willing to help this project come to life. Have people like you helping as patrons, and have people like you watching and taking part and messaging me and sharing this. And I have patrons who are helping the idea come together, and I promise I'm doing the best that I can to make sure that I don't let you guys down. So I want to say thank you. You know who you are. I appreciate this more than I can honestly explain in words, but the music will do a good job, I'm sure. Brings us to number 6. As a mainstream artist copying my style? No, I definitely don't think that's the case. I really don't. I mean, there's a small chance, there always is, but take a look at this picture. Now, I'm a huge A Perfect Circle fan as well as a Tool fan. But I was looking through their Instagram feed and I noticed that Maynard was wearing a jacket that looks mighty familiar. Now, I know I'm not the first guy to wear this style of jacket. I know that. But what sucks is that this guy, Maynard's like super mainstream. So now if by any chance he comes over and, and any artist comes and looks at me, you know what? In the long run, it's probably not even going to be that big of a deal because he's probably going to wear some other crazy stuff. As long as he doesn't continue to wear this jacket and it doesn't become like a mainstay in his, performance style as it is for me, then I guess I don't really have a reason to be upset. But I did see that and was kind of hurt my feelings right here. Wow! That brings us to number 7, which is critique and feedback. If by any chance, you guys are seeing anything, any feedback, any help, any, honestly, anything you guys have to say about whatever it is that I'm doing, tell me, let me know, because so many people have already reached out and said something about whatever it is that I was doing, and, it made the project better. I think some people may have the idea that this project is bigger than what it actually is, and I hope that that's not scaring anybody away, because honestly, realistically, everybody I know, I pretty much know everybody who's involved in the project or who watches, almost every video right now, save for, a couple of videos. I would love for you guys to give me feedback. Comments on whatever platform you're watching any of the art. emails, I mean, anything. Whatever it is, reach out, tell me anything. I love the feedback. Honestly, it means the most. It really does. Tell me what you loved about it. Honestly, tell me what you hated about it. Really, I mean, whatever it is you feel about the art that I'm putting out, tell me. I love it, honestly. If it pisses you off, awesome. If you love it, great. As long as it makes you feel something and it stirs something in you, that's really what I'm trying to do with what I'm doing. I think that comes back to like the social media aspect. I mean, don't be afraid to be human with me. Brings me to the closing concept, which is I'd really like to invite other people to do the Never Ending Conversation with me. So whoever you are, wherever you may be, if you want to come hang out with me for a weekend in my house, we'll set everything up. We'll sit and we'll talk about whatever's relevant at the time and make one of these videos and a podcast and just sit and have a conversation and have a good time. I'll show you around my house and take you up to the river and stuff. And we got some cool stuff to do around my house. So if that's something you'd be interested in doing, if you want to be a part of the Never Ending Conversation, just reach out and, maybe our schedules match up and we can continue the Never Ending Conversation. Oh, one last thing. If you see me maybe in like the last year, you've probably seen me wearing a bag out in public. Now, inside that bag, I usually carry like business cards, a deck of cards, and some stuff to do magic because honestly, it's just a lot easier to have that on my back than it is to load up my pockets with, business cards and a deck of cards and my journal and stuff like that because I never know when I need to write something down. But one of the things I carry in my bag is a fork and a spoon and a handkerchief because I've been trying to reduce my use of things that are disposable. So I'm going to mention this the next couple times that I'm talking because I honestly I think it's something that could actually help a lot, because I think we look around in the world and we're like, well, what the heck can I do to really make the world a better place? And it's more about like the concept of awareness of can you stop using things that you don't need to use anymore? And every time I was going out, I really felt bad just like using a one-time use fork and then knowing that it was going to be thrown away, or using a straw or using a napkin when that didn't really need to be used. That I could just toss a fork or a spoon and a handkerchief into my bag or leave it in my car. And whenever I was somewhere else and I noticed that somebody was giving me like a disposable set of silverware, that I would just go to my car and grab my silverware and give them their disposable stuff back. And I think of a lot more people. I mean, man, dude, it's like 100 people just did that. And they ate out once every day. You're over 300,000 plastic forks and knives and napkins wouldn't be used in just 1 year alone. And that's a large number. Now imagine if more than 100 people did that. Basically, I mean, you could think about it. You're smart. You're not dumb. It may be small, but I think the principle is what matters, and it's more the exercise. If you feel moved, go to your kitchen, grab a fork, stick it in your car, your purse, your backpack, or wherever it is that you keep things whenever you travel. And don't be upset when you forget to use it. Just constantly keep trying, because honestly, it took me about like 6 months to really get into the habit. And now, wherever I go, I mean, that's it. My fork's there, and I'm ready to rock and roll. I think the main idea is just constantly being aware of what it is that you're using that you don't need to. And it's been pretty rewarding for me. Maybe try it out. Maybe something that you could do. And until next time, remember, ladies and gentlemen, you are the hero.